The consumer prices in Sri Lanka fell by 2.1% in November, the highest deflation rate recorded by the economically fragile island nation since 1961. The drop comes as the nation continues its recovery from a severe financial crisis that wreaked havoc on its economy in 2022. Sri Lanka's recovery has been supported by a $2.9 billion bailout package from the International Monetary Fund. In addition, austerity measures such as increased taxes, reduced government spending and energy price adjustments have helped stabilize the economy. These reforms have also led to a gradual decline in prices over recent months, with deflation of 0.5% recorded in September and 0.8% in October. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka attributed the November deflation primarily to falling energy prices and a reduction in volatile food prices. In a statement, it projected that headline inflation would remain negative in the coming months before stabilizing around its target of 5%. All right, and to talk more on this, DD India's Dr. Ahmed Moeen Farooqi joins us from Colombo. Hello, Dr. Farooqi. What factors contributed most to the 2.1% deflation in Sri Lanka in November?
Siddharth, frankly speaking, yes, you see, this deflation is something which has been going on for the last 2 months plus. In fact, this is the third month running that Sri Lanka is witnessing a negative territory inflation rate. And that is something quite surprising, especially after the kind of economic crisis that Sri Lanka witnessed in 2022. In fact, the central bank believes that this is not a deflation which is harmful, but it is more so something which is seen as a correction in the inflationary kind of trend that has been witnessed in the island. A major chunk of the contribution was, if we see the month-on-month trend, it was from the food items. However, if we see the year-on-year trend, then it is visible and it is clearly evident that it is from the non-food items, primarily the housing, energy and other fuel charges. And that is something which is a very, very big remarkable change, because that shows that over the last 1 year, the prices have more so remained constant, or they have moved now towards a cheaper kind of a trend. But that said, it is very important to note that the index, which was 189.4 last year, now it is or around the same level. In fact, it is just 0.1, which is more than what was witnessed last year. While we speak about this, it is still important to note that the runaway inflation that was witnessed in 2022, reaching high levels of about 70%, which also included a food inflation of around 100% at that point of time. The effects of those are still visible even to this day as the common man grapples with the cost of living. And this is where the governor of the central bank had earlier this week said that this is not actually harmful, but this will actually be beneficial in terms of bringing down the cost of living for the common man in the long term. In fact, the governor had also said that there will be a possibility that the negative territory inflation rate will continue till middle of next year, and later on in the medium term, it will go towards a positive territory. Siddharth.
All right. Dr. Farooqi, now what's the current outlook for Sri Lanka's economy and what are the challenges it still faces despite the deflationary trend?
It's a very important area, Siddharth. You see, primarily speaking, the central bank is someone which decides how the monetary policy and various other policies have to be tuned to combat effects of inflation. And this is what they have been doing over the last 2 years. In fact, the open market operations which the central bank resorts to with regard to managing the foreign exchange reserves, as well as with regard to maintaining its own currency flows, that is something which has an impact on the inflationary rate. And as per their current open market operations and their outlook, it is informed to everyone that the inflationary trend will continue to remain in the similar negative territory till June, July next year. And thereafter, it will gradually start moving towards their target area of around 3 to 5%. However, what they're expecting is that in the medium to long term, the prices will they will ease further, because there is going to be a growth in terms of the economy itself in Sri Lanka. In fact, if we have to remember, 2022, there was a contraction in the GDP by about 7.8% and even by about 2% in 2023. This year, however, in 2024 is expected to show a positive growth of about 4% for the first time ever after the economic crisis. And the central bank hopes that the growth will continue in the same manner, and this will help the common man in coming out of the difficult circumstances that they have seen over the last 2 years. That said, the inflationary rate will hopefully go according to what they have been anticipating, because they have laid out a path and they are hoping to stick on to that. In fact, in the given direction, they have now done away with the dual policy rates, which will define the monetary policy, and they have adopted a single policy rate starting from 27th of November. It is called as overnight policy rate, which has replaced the SDFR and SLFR, the deposit and lending fixed rates. And this is something which has been done in accordance with the recommendations of IMF. IMF is closely monitoring the developments in Sri Lanka. In fact, in the recently completed third review, the IMF had noted that Sri Lanka has been doing remarkably well in terms of adhering to the targets, and they hope that the same trend will continue and it will be a positive development for the economy to come out of the crisis and on the path of recovery. Siddharth.
All right, we leave it there. Thank you so much, Dr. Farooqi, for your analysis.